Hey guys, in today's session, we're going to cover 5 different composition shots and how to achieve them. Now remember, these aren't the only types of composition there are out there, but this will get you started. So what is composition? Composition is how the elements on screen, be it props, actors, the environment, all work in relation to one another within the frame itself to create a pleasing look. So, why is composition so important? Well, as visual storytellers, it's how we drive the story forward. The way we compose our shots is how we guide our viewer to what is most important on screen, and sometimes how we want our viewer to feel while they're watching our show. The way a shot is composed can make a viewer feel engaged and considered, or completely shut them off. So let's get started. The first shot we're going to have a look at is the rule of thirds. I have attached a rule of thirds grid that you're more than welcome to download, have a copy printed out, and you can take this with you on set and use it as a guide while you're filming. Alternatively, you can use it as an overlay grid for your storyboards. The rule of thirds is the most common and simplest way of composing any shot. It involves dividing the scene into thirds, both vertically and horizontally, ending up with a grid of 9 boxes. This helps us balance our shots. Now, many beginners, when using the rule of thirds, tend to place the important subjects either in the center of the frame or in the middle of the blocks. However, one will achieve much better results by placing the subject on the vertical or horizontal lines of the grid. When would you use the rule of thirds? This is a great technique to create balance in your shots. If you'd like harmony within your shot, you would absolutely use the rule of thirds. Centered or symmetrical frame is our next shot that we're going to go into. Now, I will be talking about this type of shot composition in our How to Film an Interview session. So check that out later on in the series. This composition works best with minimal background and used to bring direct focus and attention to the subject. By adding symmetry, this can bring a sense of balance to your shot. But beware of the shot feeling too stiff or rigid when doing this. The centered frame shot is really great if you'd like direct contact with your audience. You'll find this type of shot particularly if the host wants to engage directly with their audience. Number 3, creating depth. Now, at times you might feel that once you've set up your shot, it feels quite flat. That's literally because there is no depth. Now, it's most likely that all of your elements are sitting on the same plane. So, to create depth, we need to create a foreground, a midground, and a background. The easiest way to create depth in your shots is to pull your subject or your focus to the midground and blur out the background, adding in a foreground with plants or other elements, and then having that slightly blurred as well will draw attention to your subject. Number 4, a frame within a frame. This is a really interesting and dynamic composition. You can combine this type of composition with, say, a Dutch tilt, and that'll create an even more engaging and interesting composition. But beware when using a frame within a frame that you don't use it too often, as it may become a trope and your audience might get a bit bored with it, or it might just become a little too bizarre. So how do we create a frame within a frame? So the first thing we're going to need to do is create a frame around your subject. This can be done using arches, doorways, windows, even natural foliage like trees. Using a frame within the frame is a great way of creating depth and bringing direct and clear focus to the subject. Number 5, leading lines. You'll find this to be combined with many other compositions. It's a really fantastic way to lead your audience's eye to the subject, to the host, to the actor, or anything that you'd like to bring focus to. Leading lines are lines that are found within the frame that lead the eye directly to the subject of focus. This is a great technique to use if your subject of focus isn't initially apparent, or you'd like to have your audience focus on one thing. You'll then use leading lines to draw their focus to something else in the shot. Leading lines are a great way to take your viewer on a journey, to give them some sense of anticipation or surprise. Leading lines are also used to draw your viewer's eye to point them in the right direction for the next shot in the next cut. These are just a few great ways in which you can compose your shots for your TV show. You can use them individually or combine a few together to maximize the impact and create really dynamic and engaging shots for your audience. Now, there are so many ways in which you can compose your shots, but I feel it's really important to remember that your camera is like the third person in the conversation. So once you've set up your shot, I feel it's important to remember that the camera is the third person in the conversation. We need to remember that once you've set up your shots, what is that looking like? Does it feel balanced? Does it feel harmonious? Is the focus in the right place? What are you feeling when you look at the shot? Because this is most likely what your audience is seeing and feeling while they're watching your TV show. If you're unsure of which compositions to use, or if you'd like some ideas of compositions to use for your show, I find it really helpful to look at TV shows that are similar to yours in style and genre. This will help you figure out what composition to use. If you can replicate those shots from that TV show, you'll end up with a really clean looking feeling. And once you get more comfortable, you can then start creating your own shots and have your own voice and own style. If you have any questions about composition or what compositions would work best for your show, please feel free to send me a message and I'll get back to you.